us.
Actually, I thought it was because we were enjoying the dish.
Good day.
Okay.
Welcome to the March Omaha Linux Users Group. So do we have some new faces here? If you have never been here before, go ahead and raise your hand. Wow. That's amazing.
Half.
How'd we do that?
Well, actually, my question is, where were you guys at the lunch the other week? 'Cause
I think
went,
they're all part of the 0.08%.
Oh, from Gmail? Okay.
0.02.
Which location did you go to? I'm John Larsen, by the way.
I went to the California Taco.
Oh.
And nobody was there. I kept asking people, "Are you?"
Are you with OLUG?
Yeah, are you with the?
No, but here's $1.
Huh? What?
What?
I went there in January, and I went to out
No one
west
showed
for
up, right?
February. No, there was 3 of us. No, 4. Count my coworker. Jay Swackhammer was there that time.
Jay?
Yeah.
You still go to Whole Foods?
Yes. We had about 4 people there last month. January is pretty big because I made a big stink out of it. I don't know what happened. There were just a lot of people there.
Was that the last? I think that's the last one I went to. Wasn't it?
Yes. Maybe it was December then. It's probably December. But we try to have lunch once a month in various places. If you have Linux paraphernalia, bring it or wear it or show it so people know who you are and try to find you. Sorry if you're by yourself. Or do this.
It'd be vlog, right? Vlog.
Linux!
Linux.
Now, did anybody see the pictures of Linus Torvalds at the Oscar pre-party on Saturday?
No.
I did not.
Didn't know about that.
Apparently, I don't know if this is related or not, but Pixar used Fedora in the production of Toy Story 3 for some of their workstations.
They for a lot of them actually.
I thought all of their rendering happens on Linux.
Probably. Although, you know, RenderMan's their proprietary stuff that they wrote themselves. So all their interface stuff and everything is.
Torvalds goes to Oxford.
Does it have pictures?
I'm looking to see if it does. Doesn't look like it.
Torvalds goes to Oscar Bash.
My life
Yes.
in a vacuum.
A lot of flash on that page. Oh, shall we talk about a few things? How many people have been paying attention to the canonical Banshee thing?
Just read about that. Awesome.
Okay. Rhythmbox has been the default music player for a long time in Gnome, right? Last year, when they came out with Ubuntu One and the Ubuntu One Music Store, they made a plugin for Rhythmbox. So they can you can buy MP3s if you install the right plugins and play them and store them in your Ubuntu One account. That's through 7 Digital. That's that music store.
Yeah, the Ubuntu store and 7 Digital.
Recently, they've decided to change the default music player from Rhythmbox to Banshee. So Canonical approached the Banshee developers and said, we'll give you 2 options. A, we'll give you 25% of all the money through the Amazon store, and 75% will go to Canonical. B, if you don't like that, you can ship with the plugin disabled. So that there's no MP3 store whatsoever. And they pretty much said, ship it with it. Unanimously said, ship it with it disabled. Canonical said, okay, we'll ship it with the thing turned on, and you'll get 25%, and we'll get 75%. Now, the blogs and Twitter and Identica accounts have kind of been a flurry of comments about this. And I didn't get to read Mark Shuttleworth. I just noticed that Mark Shuttleworth has a post about it today. What was it?
I think it's probably Ethan's. No. Well, they also changed the
That's right. That's what they were.
That's the one that concerned me, because you're talking the Amazon MP3 Banshee store. That's like $10,000 a year tops. What they're figuring.
And that
Amazon
goes
50,
towards
it's
the
not.
Gnome Foundation for all those MP3s through Banshee. It goes straight back to Gnome. So the developers really aren't taking that. So, oh, I remember. Canonical said, we'll give you 25% of the affiliate Amazon stuff and 25% of the affiliate 7 Digital stuff for the Gnome Foundation. And they still weren't too happy about that. So, I'm not sure what Mark said today. Something like, oh, we made a mistake. We didn't listen to our people or something like that. Now, I can see where Canonical wants to make money. That's what they exist to do, and they need to make money. Because some people were comparing it and say, well, Red Hat makes money off their Linux distro. But the difference I see there is they have a for-profit support model and a totally separate free version that some of the developers work on.
Actually, 2 separate free versions. Fedora and then CentOS, because they put all the code out.
Yeah.
It's not theirs, but I mean, it's...
Yes.
Because they do actually honor
Red,
GPL.
they honor it, and in some ways, Red Hat still benefits from Cent.
Mm-hmm.
So, now if Canonical had a separate distribution, where it would be what Ubuntu is, and then another one to make money like a server version, I wouldn't see a big deal about the whole thing, because you have a difference in your revenue models. So, it's rather interesting coming up towards a release, and now they're releasing at the end of April. That's correct.
That being released along with that Unity desktop.
Yes, they have. Hey, Rob. They're moving away from Gnome's Gnome shell, and they're going to be using the Unity desktop, which looks very similar to Gnome shell.
I might go somewhere else.
Debian
Well.
welcomes you.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's where I am.
you can always use more Debians. So,
What Debian Mint? Anybody got any experience with that? The Debian Mint?
isn't Mint based off Ubuntu?
They have a
Debian.
But they have a Debian version too. Oh, okay. I
Rolling
was.
release, no one.
Which is interesting, because Debian's not a rolling release distro.
Does that mean it's fully baked all the time? What version of kernel is Debian on?
Like 33.
33? Okay.
32 maybe. I installed it the other day on something to just drag it on.
That sounds about right. I just installed it
Okay.
over the weekend. Actually, it's usually-
We're not paying attention to the kernel version. We're paying attention to everything else that comes with it.
Well, actually, the interesting thing was, when I got Copilot with Crunchbang, you can actually go and install the Zen kernel if you want to. ZEN kernel, which is got all these other tweaks and stuff in there that you can actually mess with, like how the scheduler works and all sorts of things.
It's interesting that that's still in there, because that's mostly just a patch now, because the KVM stuff's what's supposedly.
Not Zen is in the virtualization.
Oh,
ZEN, which is
okay, Z. I'm sorry.
which is a variation on the original kernel that has a whole bunch of things like a scheduler, a different scheduler that another guy wrote.
Okay.
That will never get included in the mainline kernel. It supposedly basically works better on desktops, and a whole bunch of other extensions for like ThinkPads and all sorts of other things. It's
ACPI type
it's
stuff.
like Tweaker's Nightmare or Tweaker's Playground.
Boy, that's like
for,
that's like making a whole bunch of Android custom ROMs, trying to support every device. Now, when you rooted your NUC,
Huh?
did you have to run the oh gosh, what was it? It's not Clockwork Mod or something like that, is it?
Clockwork Mod is installed.
It
on
does
there.
work on that one.
It is
Okay.
installed. Over on XD8 devs, they actually had scripted the hack already before rooting this. All you had to do was basically side load it, and actually you just put it on.
Now you're loading it off the SD card.
Not now.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's fully rooted,
Okay.
but they actually had it scripted and an image made that you can just put on an SD card, put it in, and if you ran a certain sequence on here, you can boot off the SD card.
Okay. Well, that's
And that rooted the
cool.
whole thing, and
That moves it over. So
And
it's
I
not
can-
really a reader at all then.
oh no, it's
Oh,
a
you can use
tablet
FB.
now.
You can.
It's a tablet now. I can install anything off of
Okay.
any of the app stores I want to.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's why
Is
it's fun.
anyone familiar with running Android on an x86 computer?
x86?
Yeah, just a general desktop. I have a friend who was wondering about that.
There was an ISO that you could get.
I
It was called Android x86, but I have not downloaded it and tried it yet.
Yeah, but it runs under an emulator, so it uses a Dalvik engine instead.
Yes. Yes. I think it was androidx86.org, but I don't think it's been updated for quite some time.
Yeah.
So if there is development, it's probably going on in the IRC realm.
Actually, they're still active.
Really? Because the last time I looked, it didn't seem to have changed since last summer, I thought.
They've got news updates out here from
Maybe I was looking at another wrong site.
Tiga Tech donates 3 Tiga V2 tablets to Android x86.
Wait a minute, 210 as in February 10th?
February 10th.
Okay,
this
not
year.
2010.
Like, as in 18 days ago?
Okay.
19 days ago? A little over 2 weeks.
Sure.
See what we are doing now. Port Gingerbread to the x86, OpenGL hardware accelerator for Sandy Bridge, new x86 tool chain.
Anybody have any Sandy Bridge hardware?
I thought they recalled it.
No,
It's
they-
okay for laptops.
Oh, it works on laptop, but
Well, you're not going to be using ports 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, which is what's the affected ports. 0 and 1, you're okay. Yeah. So, are the new Macs got the faulty chips? I don't know. They don't care. Now, I did see an article on Slashdot that said that the iFixit tore apart one of the latest MacBooks, and they said that the construction was just not very good, that they didn't assemble it as well. And that there was a whole bunch of thermal paste on the inside of the thing.
The announcement's coming out this Friday, isn't it?
Hmm?
The announcement's this Friday from the Mac gathering
For iPad 2,
for iPad 2 and I think
that
the
should
MacBook.
be tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
It's the 2nd. Because the Game Developer Conference is going on, and they've cleverly placed their announcement at the same time that Nintendo's giving their keynote. You know it's going to be like a big game announcement on the iPad, right? They're going to say, we trounce everybody in all games on the iPad.
It's supposed to be announcing what iPhone 5 too, isn't it? So
Ah, June. They always put that in June. But it's rumored. You know it is. That's why Verizon didn't have as high of a hit when they released the iPhone 4.
oh, that was a disaster.
Because everybody knows it's coming out later this year. Now, I had a coworker went and got one. Told him to wait.
which coworker?
He's a guy who works out of Lincoln. No, there's not that many IT people who have iPhones at work. So, mostly Android stuff.
Depends on how corporate the environment is. If it's really corporate, they probably would have had Blackberries.
I am down to one BlackBerry user in AIM. Isn't that amazing? A year and a half ago, we had all 10 licenses filled up, and now we have one left.
Wow.
And he's supposed to be getting a new phone anyway, because his is like an 8830 from 4 years ago.
Does his name start with C?
No.
No way, he did not convert.
Who, Chad?
Yeah.
He's had an iPhone for 2 years. Yeah.
Disowned him, then.
He's actually broken his iPhone and had it repaired. Then it broke again, so we went and bought a new one. Then our intern
Show Apple.
repaired it, so I'm using it because I lost mine. So,
Speaking of phones, has anybody tried that Virgin Mobile $25 a month plan and see if they could use voice over IP working on it, or if they had good coverage in Omaha?
it's Sprint. That's all it is Sprint.
Yeah,
They
that's
own
fine.
all of them now. It's not a separate entity.
So you would think they'd have decent coverage, but I heard a couple people.
Maybe that's dependent on the device. Now, I have a friend of mine who has Virgin Mobile, and he has a Samsung phone, and he finds it's okay.
Android?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know which specific Samsung it is, but I know it's out there.
Well, we know somebody's got a BlackBerry that's on Virgin Mobile.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, I might as well get to this since I threw this together today. How many people know about LibreOffice? You would know, certainly. How many people have used it and are happy with it? I'm happy. I'm used it. I went and replaced it on all my boxes, so I no longer have OpenOffice on it anymore.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Like it that way? I mean, as I'm sure you'll get to, I'm interested in seeing why.
Okay. It is a fork of the code from OpenOffice in September. They actually have more than 100 core developers working on it now, which is, I think, more than OpenOffice had. They attracted a lot of people once they did the fork. It is a complete Office suite, as OpenOffice.org is complete. OpenOffice is in the control of Oracle, and no one can know its fate, like MySQL and OpenSolaris. See past Oracle OSS decisions. I won't get into it here. I just did. That's enough. I won't get into that whole part.
Just
The
watch
big
what
mess.
they've been doing lately.
What is the name of the MySQL fork? Do you remember?
No,
Maria DB.
no, not Mariah, not
Drizzle.
Maria. That was before this. You're talking about the other one where basically most of the devs left. Oracle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because wasn't Monty in part of that?
I knew there was 3 forks that they were saying were fighting to be the primary.
This one.
MariaDB was one of them,
I thought one of them actually had MySQL in the name.
No.
and I don't remember.
Not for long.
Larry Wilson.
Yeah. So the wonderful thing, and I'm going to go on this little tangent. I was searching for a bunch of MySQL stuff on Google, right? And they have all these links to all the documentation. When you click on it, you get a Oracle error page. We cannot find your document. So that's a wonderful thing to try to keep track of where all that stuff is. So you look at the cached version, but you know the cached version is going to disappear over time. Well, you know, that pretty much looks like OpenOffice, except a lot of the icons have changed,
Say they look-
redone, a little bit fun with that. You can import SVG pictures now into Draw and change them and edit them, which it didn't do before. So you can do
MS
scalable.
Works. Sorry.
Yes, improved WordPerfect import, and yes, MS Works import, and it works. The colored sheet tabs in Calc, so it's easier to see what you're at and what you're doing. Now I noticed that both OpenOffice and LibreOffice does 1 million rows in Calc now. For those doing database stuff, it's kind of fun, especially if you're working for clients. Presenter view. Now that was previously a plugin that you had to add, but it's now just built into it. And the improved slide layout and handling in Impress. I actually did this in LibreOffice, although I don't tend to choose really fancy themes and stuff. I just tend to do it. The online help is now available online via WikiHelp. Now, I lifted that line directly from their documentation, so that's not my grammar, if you think that's written weird. You can turn on experimental mode in the options, so you can play with the not fully baked features. I have not tried that yet. I don't know if I want to try that. The ability to turn off number recognition in Writer. That's always been my pet peeve, which is kind of nice, finally, because it would always add another number down the list as you keep typing and change the shape. Excel is faster, DBF and ODS imports. And standard fonts are now embedded in PDFs, so you don't have incompatibilities when you give it to somebody else. So you should be happy with that. The print interface now has tabs, so it's less confusing than it ever was. And there are actually more languages in LibreOffice than there is in OpenOffice. I think there's 20 more, including some right to left languages. So that's always the toughest one to do. I thought I opened one of these. Well, there's the Impress interface. I can't change anything, of course, while the thing's running. Where do you think the experimental features are? By the way, you do have to have JRE installed if you want to do some database stuff. And it is not bundled with it for obvious reasons. So, yes.
Is it just me, or does it seem that it seemed kind of odd that Libreoffice is found as a spelling error in Libreoffice?
No, but that is pretty funny. Maybe they don't like the way that I wrote it. Maybe they would like it if it wasn't, if I don't do the capitalization correctly.
What's it suggest?
So yes, let's all go to Libreville. Now, I should be able to add that to the standard dictionary. There. And now we're done. We've gotten that taken care of. So, what are the differences? OpenOffice.org can import 2007, 2010, whereas LibreOffice can save. That's a pretty big difference.
Yes, that is.
You can choose several key bindings in Calc, so you can have Excel key bindings, OpenOffice key bindings, or the extended Calc key bindings in LibreOffice.
Does that include access?
Access would be under.
Is that part of Microsoft Office?
It's just the key bindings for the keyboard.
The important save.
No.
You can link to a
You'd have
MPV file, but it's
on Windows
Yeah.
because the drivers are there.
Yeah.
Not really. No. Access has always been access.
You could do it through ODBC though.
Yeah, over a network if you got the pipes all set up. It's been a long time since I've messed with access.
Wait, can you, he'd probably be the one, but do you know if you can export a SQL script that contains all the data in an Access database?
It probably could, but I've never done it.
You might be able to do it in newer ones, but it's a different way to do it. I used to always do it with custom DB script. It comes out.
Or who's trying to remember for MySQL? SkySQL.
SkySQL.
SkySQL. And they took a whole bunch of the execs from the MySQL group out of Oracle and the devs with them. They took basically like 2/3 of the MySQL group from Oracle.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Yes, Rob.
Does LibreOffice, does it work just as fine with the OpenJDK as with the Sun JDK, or is it much better?
I
with
believe,
the Sun?
well, I'm using OpenJDK and I haven't done any database stuff yet, but it should. I think it actually says OpenJDK in some of the wiki stuff.
I saw a reference on their page about
Yeah.
OpenJDK.
I didn't have any problems with it. I had OpenJDK and left Dropbox with LibreOffice and saw no problems.
Maybe the OpenJDK will improve a lot.
Here's hoping. You're saying that Suns is a little quirky?
Java 7 is quirky. They're splitting it in half. There's going to be a free version and then a paid-for version which has extra features. You know, the ones they didn't shut off. Oracle price model.
You know, that Adobe Air is starting to look pretty good.
It's Oracle.
I mean, when I saw how Adobe Air does stuff, that's crazy. It's just like, okay, you link into the installer and your app's installed and you're done. There's no weirdness. It runs on any platform. I don't know.
Just bought a book on Java.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, yeah. I spent
How much Android development is Java?
It's 90%.
Yeah, see?
Not enough for a lawsuit, apparently.
Come on now. Dalvik is completely out of there. It's different. developed differently. So, I know that was really quick on LibreOffice.
Can you tell me where to find the desktop icons for it?
The desktop icons. Did you install it?
Did you
There's
install-
where did you install it from?
I took it from LibreOffice's site. I did a yum remove all the OpenOffice orange stuff.
Yeah,
And
there's
when you
a
do that, then
there's-
there's a
When you.
in the
big GZ and
Right.
a help GZ. There's a little
Right,
help GZ
but
and a
after,
big GZ.
after you run the main install, you actually go into our directory under where you extract those files.
Uh-huh.
There's a separate desktop integration
Oh, okay.
file to install.
you have to choose. It's in desktop integration.
Oh, okay.
I
So
did
then
know
it has all the RPM stuff. So Susie Red Hat, all those guys. So you will get a conflict with OpenOffice with the desktop menu stuff. Okay, so then you should be fine. I did not realize that 3.3.1's already out, so I need to update all my boxes. That was on the 23rd
I just upgraded to 3.3 over the last week.
for LibreOffice. Yeah, LibreOffice is 3.3.1. Now there's a bunch of stuff that I didn't cover in the presentation that I can just sort of talk about. Linux has some new fonts. There's a narrow font that's included. Actually, we just copy and pull that sucker out. Oh, speaking of Kindle, there's the Kindle source code. That's the legit, that's the GPL stuff. That's the stuff you can have.
Didn't say anything.
Yes?
I got one of these, tablet PCs.
Yeah? An old
Really
HP.
old.
I'm amazed that the pen is still attached to it.
Never worked with OpenOffice,
Really?
except in some of the drawing stuff. You
Well-
know, even on LibreOffice, because I mean now since there's so many Linux-based tablets, you would think that they'd support a stylus. Or projects like that would be.
There was, if you,
You know, or be built into OpenOffice.
Mo Duffy, who's in the Fedora graphics team, she's actually using a ThinkPad with a stylus to do drawing.
Yeah, for drawing, but.
Handwriting
but for
recognition?
using, like, or even just using a.
I don't know of anything.
You actually, there's some other handwriting recognition programs that you can use that are actually like independent, but nothing will be integrated into
Hmm.
any of the office suites I've seen.
Well, I think you'd have to. It still would have to kind of learn from your handwriting at some point. It's kind of like your voice, isn't it? I mean, graffiti was great, but you always had to do it
Oh,
exactly how graffiti wanted you to do it.
Even if it was mainly print, that'd be much better than what it is now.
There's
Yeah.
Cell Writer. It's a handwriting recognition system for Linux.
Oh, they updated the save dialog to include all the types by default rather than having to always expand it. Radio buttons to clarify complex menu option intentions. That's a great word right there. Add option to enable saving in documents with non-visible changes. So you can still change it. Because it's not a viewable change. It might be in the formatting. But yeah, there's a lot of little itty bitty things. There's talking about the key bindings. Control tab cycles through autocomplete selections. Tab during autocomplete commits current selection and moves to the next cell. That's nice.
Yeah.
New compatibility options to configure the user interface interactions. So where is that? Calc, compatibility. Huh.
no, you actually should be in calc to get the calc settings. Or in the word processor, one of the two. Maybe in the header.
Legacy. Nice.
That's why compatibility is quotes.
Of course, base can be used in most places, so there's all the driver stuff.
See, I always wish they'd put this into a separate, just straight configuration program for the whole suite.
It used to be that way. Old, like version 1, you'd have to like expand every one of them and make all your changes. Because I used to go in and like I always did like certain things. Go in, change the number of undos, go in, change the number of, so I could reduce the memory footprint on machines that had less memory.
No, I mean, they've always done that though, that you have to be in calc to get the calc options, you have to be in writer to get the writer options.
They must have changed that in a later version because I don't remember that in the first version.
It was in the first version.
Really?
The last time it wasn't that way was back when it was Star Office.
Okay,
Before
and
the
then
Sun
thinking
Fly.
back. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going back too far in time. So,
I'm back there with you, so I was just
Yeah.
I know the reference.
5.0.
Heck, the first time I played with that was on OS 2.
Okay, who's played with Gnome 3 yet?
I've looked at pictures.
You've looked at pictures.
Yeah, look at screenshots.
You want me to attempt to run it?
That's as close as I'm going to get to it.
I can attempt to run it. We'll see if it actually works with dual screens here on the projector. Now, I spent a good amount of time trying to get a working Gnome 3 today.
Which one shall we play?
Not that one. It's that one. GTK3 is done. I remember seeing that post a few weeks ago on the Gnome Planet. It will be the default desktop in Fedora 15. It is, when they say a simplification of settings, they mean it. It is very simple. It will be available in Ubuntu, but the default will be Unity. Both seem similar. It is a redesign of the desktop. And GNOME 3 should be out in April of 2011. You can see it at gnome3.org. They have some pictures there. Here's a few pictures I swiped from gnome3.org. It's a very appy looking interface, isn't it? Okay, so to do this, I'm going to have to shut my box down. It did not run in a virtual machine for this demo. Because of the way that it requires certain hardware acceleration. Specifically, it's essentially like it needs comp is, or what the latest version of whatever they call comp is.
It's not comp, it's a new.
If your hardware does not support GNOME 3, it will back level to the Nautilus version of the desktop. So you'll get essentially GNOME 2.
Are you saying old hardware may be a problem with no?
Not necessarily old hardware. I had, this is an Intel laptop, and this is only 2 years old, and I had some quirks. Now bear in mind, this is like a month or two before it's supposed to actually be out. So, and I got the OpenSUSE one running. This was the most stable, as long as I didn't update anything, and then it went to crap. The Fedora one I could update, but I could never get the Intel drivers to initialize well.
That sounds like a regular day with it.
Yeah. This will take, I'm actually surprised it's staying up there. We'll see how long before it switches over. I've had all sorts of fun with projectors in this laptop.
My question is, what's the wallpaper?
That's their GNOME 3 wallpaper. Yay.
Hey, oh, there it is.
640 by 480. Gotta love it. Oh! Come back over here and over here.
The Twin Horse 768, getting closer.
Direct access to. Device Bluetooth laser travel mounts.
Hey,
Or
if that's
mouse
true,
over to allow access into
that would be cool because authorize requests.
Oh, move when you.
Oh,
when
did
you,
it?
When you hit your mouse pad on your laptop. it
Yeah,
moves.
all right.
See, that's where it is.
See, my mouse knows it's paired with my Bluetooth. All right, you're only seeing half of this, so let me see if I can
Pan over.
mirror the screens. Nope, that's not it. That's it. Okay. Cross your fingers.
Hey.
Wow. I'm impressed. Okay. So, essentially, here's your account. Look, it's just like the Mac. I can unlock it. What was my password? It wasn't that. Yeah, I know. I don't remember what it is now. It's not what I made it.
It looks like it's. Oh, no, it's so long.
Yeah, it's locked me out of it now, right? So, but you can go back here just like on the Mac. There's your screen. Now, when I was messing with this earlier, I had it in the off position in Fedora, but it still kept locking on me. So they're working on that. That could just be Fedora's build. They may have an older build than what they're supposed to be having. Here's your backgrounds.
Kind of looks like KDE.
No, it doesn't look as bad as KDE.
Well, not as bad, but kind of.
It's a nice little date and time. Kind of cool. Chicago.
Are you saying that Gnome 3 is kind of like trying to follow a little bit like Unity? I mean, it's a big change from what it was.
Kind of. So let me get out of here. Right? Here's your normal network manager. This is your accessibility stuff. So you can turn on like the screen reader and the keyboard and text, volume, battery, power settings. Now, one of the things I've read about that people were kind of annoyed is that there is no what happens when you close the lid. It's not on this dialog box. They're trying to default that function. So when you close the lid, it sleeps,
Stands by.
Yeah.
right? But if your battery gets low or a certain amount of time goes by, I'm trying to remember which one it was, the computer goes to hibernation, which means it has to wake up in your bag and then go into hibernation. I've not always had the best luck sometimes with ACPI and sleeping on laptops. Other people have had better luck than me. It kind of depends. Toshiba's been okay. I have to put a an appended line on my kernel to get it to work. Aaron knows that. So let's kind of do a little bit
So,
here.
When you say that it's a much simplified interface,
Yeah,
and
where's
when you say it looks like a Mac, does that mean you can't do much with it?
no? You can do a lot with it. Hey, I'm not using the Mac to design my desktops.
My Mac
Oops.
sits at home. I have one.
I'm sorry, that's canonical. I didn't mean to say that. Anyway, so you got this little hot spot up here, right? Boop. So here's your favorites bar. Here's your little file manager. Slap that up there, Firefox. Okay. So over here, come on. Let's snap that up here to the corner. Over here is your virtual desktops. So,
My wife's there.
I'm missing having a regular mouse.
No, she's got it.
So you can keep adding virtual desktops by clicking on this plus, or you can click on the minus to get rid of it.
Oh, there it is down there. I couldn't figure
Yeah.
out how many you had.
Yeah, I had 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Or you can go to applications, and here's all the applications that are installed. This is the all. Then there's you can just go down by your groups, so on and so forth. You can remove an item from your favorites. You can add an item to your favorites. So now I got my X term. Woohoo!
Very important.
Yep. I'm not digging how big the title bar is here.
It's a lot of wasted space.
Yeah.
Well, but the thing about that's actually good UI design, because they basically say make the buttons and stuff like that really big, so people can actually hit them easily.
I'll get to that
Through the finger,
next.
touchscreen.
Because this
Not
this
in
version
devices,
does not
in general.
reflect the recent change. Yesterday they removed the minimize button. Now, Fedora and Suzy can do whatever they want with the interface, but supposedly they removed the maximize and minimize button. Now, I only get this from reading Identica feeds, so I haven't actually seen any pictures to know exactly what's going on. But you can pretty much guess. There was a little bit of outrage on that. Yes?
Is there a way to, I'm always wanting to like either maximize vertically or horizontally. And-
Rather than the whole window?
Yeah. And
Let's get a real window.
it's not something that's built in and native. It's always surprised me.
Hmm.
It's not.
It's probably available in a way to do it, but
I think I saw you do it a moment ago, trying to drag it over to a different desktop.
No, it maximizes the whole thing too. Oh, yeah, that's right. It does a snap to the side like
yeah.
Vista does now. No, I think that functionality is in there, but you actually have to build it into GDK theme, and almost nobody ever does it.
Yeah.
All that stuff's controlled through your themes.
Because I mean, I
The
did
best
it,
thing to do is get a
And there is no
window
themes in
manager.
here right now.
I did it like 15, 20 years ago in some old Sun workstation.
Well, I bet you the X commands are still there, the old keyboard commands. Just a matter of researching those and getting them back out again.
I don't know. I just think get a real window manager.
Now this is not Metacity. This is actually,
No, this is the new one.
is it Mutter?
Mutter
What'd you call me?
Clutter.
Clutter. That's
Yes.
Yes.
They're kind of working together on that. So that's another thing that's different about it. But visually, I think it looks pretty cool. It takes a little bit of time getting used to. That's for sure. And if you suddenly have a video card problem, you find yourself back on the version 2 version of the interface. In other words, you get, programs and system and all that stuff up here in gray, whereas everything else is black. As soon as the theming stuff gets done, I'm sure it'll be a lot better. Things will work a little bit more. But in the Fedora version, they've been doing test days the past 2 weeks. And they have Firefox 4 as the default right now, beta 12 already. So,
I've been running that on the box at the house.
pretty fast,
So
isn't
far-
it?
Yeah, so far I'm pretty happy with it. Getting
Now-
used to the completely different look of it has been. Yeah.
Do you
I
use
have
the
tabs on title bar, or whatever they're calling that thing.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
do you use the Weave or bookmark sync?
I'm playing with it versus Xmarks.
Okay.
I've been trying both. Xmarks was supposed to have quit working.
Well, when they announced that they were going to close, I moved everything off of Xmarks
Yeah,
and shut my
I was-
account.
I was going to, and then I forgot on some machines, and I noticed, oh look, it's still working, but it's
Mhm.
working through
LastPass.
LastPass, yeah.
Yeah, which is actually a good fit for them. I think it works pretty well. So, if you get time and want to play with it, download the image off of the Gnome site. Yeah, you notice it doesn't say restart. I think they were going to take that out too. I'm not sure. but in the Fedora version, it's still there. So it's all changeable based upon the distro. There's some decisions
Well,
that
you
the
probably
distros
just
can
go
do.
to gconf and
Yes.
the settings in there. Which is the reason I stopped using Gnome.
Because it got a registry?
Yes.
Yes.
Why would they
That
take
makes
out
sense.
restart?
They'll take everything out and then it'll get put back in slowly. That's how they do most major UI changes. Is you just bring it down to the bare simplest model and then bring it back.
The registry in Windows is the one single point of failure. The biggest single point of failure.
Oh, yeah. I believe it.
And I'd say it's the same thing in Gnome. It's the single biggest point of failure for Gnome.
Why is it
If
my...
it's corrupt, you can't get your desktop
Oh.
started. You have to wipe it and let it reinitialize itself.
Whenever my friend of mine always got a new piece of hardware for his computer, he'd always wipe the whole thing and start over in Windows. Just like, okay.
A new piece of hardware, like got a new drive or
Got a new video card. Reinstall. Oh, yeah.
I figure we're only probably less PS suffering than the rest of us.
Well, the way he should have done it was get up to a point where everything's up to date, make an image, like Clonezilla or something, then go and do his hardware drivers. That way he can just go back to the image because you only get so many installs with a XP or a Windows 7 disk.
They took that out, I think. They actually took that part out. They actually talked about that because apparently it wasn't doing them any good. Finally, so they figured out it was costing them more to actually
Take the phone
out.
calls? Yes.
Yeah.
No, that would make sense.
That was one of the reasons it came out in the updates.
That's stupid. Professional. Thank you. Hey, I got my mouse back.
Mouse.
I actually got Dropbox. That's pretty cool.
Many of you guys use this, like Notepad, it's called Gurney in
Mm-mm.
Linux speak.
For what?
Well, Notepad in Windows, you know what Notepad is? It's a kind of a super steroid version of Notepad used in Linux. I just wondering if anybody had experience with it.
No, I haven't used that one.
Genie.
Oh, the recent hiccup with Gmail. Officially, it was 0.02% of all the accounts suddenly appeared to have been reset when they logged into their Gmail Sunday morning. Sunday morning, not Monday.
Now, just so people know, that's 150,000.
That's 150,000 accounts. So you can do the math.
It's like the city of Lincoln.
Yeah. So I'm assuming everybody here has a Gmail account, right?
Yeah.
Or more.
Or more? Yeah, I have 4. So
Oh, that's kind of 6.
You got me, I got 3.
there are options like Backupify, which does Gmail, but it also does like Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that if you really want to back up your tweets about, here's what I'm eating today. Here's the flat tire I just got. Stuff like that. Gmail backup, which apparently is popular. However, when I tried to go to it today, I noticed that the error reports that the Drupal could not connect to its database, and that the hosting company in Czechoslovakia was not honoring some of the URLs for download. So that's probably not an option you want to explore today. But a lot of people, I saw an article referencing it from 2008 on Lifehacker, so it's been out there. But, Gmail data is extremely portable via IMAP and POP3. If you've got POP3 enabled and you've got Thunderbird or any of these other apps, you can download the mail and have a copy.
It's better now, by the way.
You know, I've been on POP3 for years,
Yeah.
and I had an IT guy set my laptop IMAP. He didn't know I had POP3. He thought, well, he'll want IMAP. So I converted the other 2 computers I had to IMAP. I hate it. I'm going back to POP3.
Well, you know why POP3 is better than IMAP, right?
I know it is after that experience I had. I'm unhappy.
because it gets your damn email off my email server.
Yeah, I mean, and there's things that don't open well, down with IMAP, sit there and wait.
If you have multiple devices accessing the same account, that's essentially what IMAP is for. If you've got POP and it downloads it and it has this option to delete it, and then you go to your other computer and you try to download it and it's not there, and that other computer dies, then you don't have a complete copy of it.
No.
Right. So there is Fetch Mail, which has been around a long time.
What is?
Fetch Mail has been around for a long time. And Get Mail. Now these are both command line utilities. Okay? Install Get Mail. Create a folder and create another folder. Where's my terminal? You probably can't see that, can you? Goes back a long, long way with that ID.
Does it have anything to do with the Yes album?
Yes, it does.
I know my sound chaser.
Cool. Okay.
You have digital?
Your distro should have that already installed in it. I'm not hitting UNL. That's too bad. Now you see how many repositories I have configured in my box.
Oh, the RPM fusions, yeah. I had those set up. Could just put -y on it.
Yeah. I know. So
I was tempted to alias.
So I've got Dropbox installed. That's kind of fun. And I have this little thing, the Android notifier. Have you seen that? Ooh. We'll show you that after this is done. It's pretty cool.
We're talking about that.
Okay, so while that's installing, we need a directory, Get Mail, and we need a backup directory, Gmail backup. Okay, you're gonna need a config file for your thing. Right? This is the name of it.
Technical term.
Here's all the pieces that you need. Notice there's no password in there. It's not like I just it's not like I just made this account today, because my other one suddenly disappeared. I guess it's because I didn't log into it in 4 or 5 years. So
What were you expecting? What were they expecting? You were using it.
obviously not, because I wasn't buying any free crap. Does everybody know what the purpose of a free crap account is for?
So you go sign up for something on the website,
You
you
s-
say, here's where it goes.
Yeah, you sign up for something on a website and you give them that address and you're never going to use it again. And it just goes there and it's a spam collector. I set up an account on Cox 8 years ago. And the way I did it was I did like this. Dot 27 hyphen and just some other items you can actually have as a valid ID. And I never used it. And my theory was, if Cox was selling my address, if this got email, I knew they sold my address. I need to go in and check it. I haven't checked it.
If you don't use it within 3 months, they close the account.
Bastard! Even if you have a web...
Now,
see, that's different. It wasn't that way when I first set it up. So
here's a different one for you. The Gmail, if you put your user ID plus some string of text at gmail.com, plus whatever, becomes a tag in Gmail.
so you can filter it based on that.
Thank you.
See? We spread the info.
A lot of love in this room.
Okay. So I'm going to use IMAP. This has the simple IMAP SSL retriever. Here's my server name, my username, my password. I'm going to do a destination of mbox. Here's my mbox name. And I'm going to be verbose for 2 to give me some output. I'm going to have a log.
What other types are there?
Pop3. You mean for the log for this or this?
Type.
Type?
Down.
The inbox.
Oh, you can do Maildir.
Yeah, mails are.
Yeah.
Maildir and inbox are the two big ones.
Oh, and the cool thing is you can do both. So when you run it, it'll deliver it to both types at the same time. Okay? Pretty cool, huh? Okay, so let's say I made this file. Oh, shoot.
You just exited that, did you?
No,
You got to put your password in there.
I forgot to put my password in there. It's a good thing I had another one.
Yeah, don't L.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem.
Cap.
I know there's an error in that file.
Turn off the monitor. So you can fix your error.
Now the reason of the error is because I didn't have the right path to my mailbox.
Yeah, you can just set it to I no echo and just don't allow it.
No, he has to fix an error in the
Yeah.
file that has his
Make a
password
new
in it.
file.
He's got to put his password in there,
Yeah.
in clear text, which to me, that's a no-no.
That's why you do the set it to I no echo.
Yes, you need to show us that sometime. Okay, to answer your question. Prints warnings, prints message about retrieving, deleting, so verbose is 2. So it'll show a lot more than it's supposed to. Okay? So first you want to download a copy of all your mail. With the R is this using this file. Okay? If you only want to get new messages, you put the N on it. And you can also put this into bash, so the queue will be quiet when you execute it for your cron job, right?
Get mail. You just want to do get mail.
Is it
Dash
a
Gmail.
dot instead of a dash?
Now, what did you say, Aaron?
What? No, you have to grep -b the file, then set it to I no. Grep -b password the file, create a new file, modify it, and then you can set it to I.
Oh,
no echo, then
well, it doesn't matter.
You probably
As long as nobody hacks the account while I'm trying to do a demo.
How does he just change it afterwards?
Yeah, my password, like it's a really.
And the OLUG server.
Should be right. Gmail dash.
Is it running from the get mail? Well, that's not one version, that's not.
You're supposed to pass it the file.
You see, he's putting .get mail like anyway. Just give it the get mail dash Gmail instead. Get rid of your .get mail when you pass it in. Dash R. Just put get mail dash Gmail.
Can't find a configuration file. Oh, ha ha ha.
Well, that doesn't help.
By the way,
You must touch.
you have to have the file existing before you can run it. Now, I put a whole bunch of mail in here today as a test. You notice that they all say OLUG return.
1,409?
Okay. This is the first 6 months of OLUG email from 2002. So if anybody gets into it, whoop-de-doo, you know. But yeah, as you can see, it works pretty darn good. It's just downloading away. Now, obviously, you know that IMAP is kind of a little quirky. This does not save the read flag status when you do this method. POP3, it will do the read flag status. IMAP, it will not. I shouldn't have put 1400 in there. Should have only put about 400. Yes.
I think I actually, on the CPAN site, they have a list of they have a collection of a bunch of miscellaneous scripts, and I think one of them was a IMAP Gmail backup, of all things.
Oh, as a Perl module?
Yeah. Well, no, just a script in general.
Mm.
Let's see if I can.
Well, there's a POP3 and IMAP Pro
I know
module,
that.
so probably just calls that.
Okay, if you're doing POP3, you are limited to 99 messages per run, per transaction. That's a Gmail limit. So
That would suck.
the IMAP has no limit. So there's trade-offs either way. So you can just keep rerunning it until you have all your mail. But, you know, when I did mine the other day, I was like, I'm not downloading that much mail several times. You could do 4 I equals whatever on a command line and run it, but
And then you start to sit there and figure out, okay, you got 1,409 messages
Yeah, they're
divided by 99. So you actually have to run it 15 times to
Yeah.
get all your messages. And
yeah, and I have more mail than that in my regular account.
Yeah.
And I have it set up for 2 accounts, so I'm bringing 2 stuff down. I have another one that I haven't set up yet, which is just for like list emails. I get like 3 emails in it a week, and that's it. In other words, film streams, the Whole Foods coupon book, and Zoma FM. That's pretty much it.
Whole Foods has a coupon book?
Well, they just have a what's coming up this week at the store thing. In plain text. Thank goodness. You don't have to have HTML. And you can specify folders that you want to retrieve in the IMAP version. So it's a comma list, so you can have, if you have multiple folders, you can tell it which ones to pull down.
Which if you're tagging your messages, you have to tell.
It has to do with the labels, when you label it.
It's tags labels,
Yes. Yes.
Interchangeably.
So, Matt Cutts wrote an article several years ago about this program. Does anybody know who Matt Cutts is?
He's in control of
He's the big,
ranking algorithm for Google.
yes, he's the big spam fighter right now
Yes,
at Google.
He just got interviewed about the changes they made to the algorithm.
Well, we talked a lot back then, didn't we? Although for the first 6 months, that's not too bad, 1,400 and some.
That's not bad at all.
How much of those are tests, though?
Brian? Test. Whenever you see Brian send the one that's test, that means he's doing something to the box. And he wants to make sure he didn't break it.
I'm sorry, was I supposed to think?
Gmail's still about the only game in town, isn't it, for email?
14.
I'd be interested to see how the profanity was, how much higher that was in the first 6 months compared to today.
Well, let's see. Yahoo's still out there. Hotmail's still out there. I don't know about Hotmail's interface anymore. I haven't seen it in a long time.
We've changed it. Keep trying to.
Didn't they roll it into live? Part of that?
Yes.
Yahoo still doesn't do an SSL for your address book or email.
Yeah, see, that was
Email can.
annoying. How many people have the HTTPS Everywhere plugin for their browser? If you don't have it, I highly recommend it. It's awesome. I can show you that in a second too. Okay, let's do this with a -N
You got nothing.
and see if there's any new mail in my mailbox.
This one.
0 messages retrieved. So it knew what I've pulled down. Unless somebody's back there has changed the password because they're smiling. No? Okay. My phone must be slow.
that rely then on, to keep a separate index or rely on the log?
There's a separate index.
Okay.
Right.
So it's keeping all the actual.
It's like a point.
messages.
It's like a pointer file. Oh,
There you go.
there's another message. So there's how a new message appears. See, one message retrieved. If you want, you can just do with a Q, like in your script file. You don't see anything. So here's your get mail. There's the log, and that, I'm sure, is the index pointer. Because that's the only file I didn't create in that directory.
Yeah.
So when it runs. So I throw this in a cron job, run it every 30 minutes.
Scan it real quick, see what it is.
So
So pardon the stupid question. Okay, fine, it's on my box, now how do I get into it?
it's Mbox file. Anything will read that.
Yeah, Thunderbird read it.
Alpine?
Alpine, Pine.
Don't, just don't.
Good news.
Mail? Mutt?
Okay. Hey,
It's just-
somebody's gotta play devil's advocate.
You can move it around to so many different programs. That's the nice thing about it.
Yeah.
Or you can do Maildir. Like Kmail will read both. Should. So
Now, the trick is setting up a client to send it back out.
yes. I kind of looked at that recently, but I don't remember how far I got. Okay, HTTPS everywhere. By the way, these are some great plugins. Beef Taco sets permanent opt-out cookies to stop behavioral advertising by 100 different advertising networks.
Google, yeah.
So you essentially get opt-out cookies. So when they hit you and say, hey, I want to set this, oh, you're opted out. It's a great one. Better privacy, that's the super cookies in Flash. It stores it in a separate SQLite database. That will ask you to remove it. Where's HTTPS everywhere? Right here. This is the Free Software Foundation. Or the EFF, I'm sorry. So it will automatically apply HTTPS to any of these sites that you go to. So for instance, if I go to google.com, it's the encrypted version right there.
What about DuckDuckGo? I know I saw that.
Is it .com?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
DuckDuckGo.
What the hell is that?
It's just a funny.
Wikipedia. English. Secure wikimedia.org. HTTPS.
So that should be on there, huh?
If you add it to your browser, yeah, you have to go into the add-ons. The reason why this sucker came about is because of Firesheep. Firesheep was a item that you could get to run, I think it was like Windows box. And so you go to Starbucks and you sit down with your laptop and you run Firesheep, and all these people around you are logging into Facebook, and you can see their session, and then you can impersonate them on Facebook. You can't do that with HTTPS.
So that should just be a default.
It essentially made Facebook create a setting in the machine on Facebook now that says always use HTTPS. Now you have to actually go in and turn that on, but it is available.
Which makes no sense. Why the hell would they do that?
Well, but here's the ironic part came out recently.
The apps do not.
The Android Facebook app does not use HTTPS.
It's things like that that make me say I am not a Facebook user.
Oh, I think you guys might have talked about this earlier, but now Facebook is going to share your physical home address
Yes.
and phone number. You're gonna sell
They
it.
did it once before and people raised the stink and they turned it off, but now they're just doing it again because the heat's died down.
Well,
Yes.
And most people don't realize there's still another gap in there, and I don't know how many people really know this.
That scared me.
I'm more scared of Facebook than Google.
Yeah.
I don't have an account on Facebook, but I know that I've been tagged on Facebook.
What's
There are pictures of me on Facebook where I'm tagged.
Do you
So
want a Facebook account?
no, I'm sure you would make me one.
Hey, I have an email.
I already.
Did anybody see the thing that what happens when you try to delete a Facebook account?
Oh, that's actually an interesting story about that. Go ahead and tell your part first.
It is the creepiest thing you will see if you try to delete your Facebook account. It takes you through like 5 or 6 different screens when you say delete my account. And then finally you get to the screen where it grabs a whole bunch of pictures of like your friends. And it says something like, don't you want to stay in contact with all these people on Facebook? And you sit there going, no, I want out, I want out, I want out, I want out. You know, it takes like an hour to get out of the dang thing. Oh, it just, well then, the other thing is, you go back and you go to log back in after you delete your account, it magically restores everything, even like a month later.
What was that?
It magically restores everything, even like a month later after you deleted your account.
That's amazing.
Like, think Mark was gonna throw your stuff away? No,
Yeah,
no,
they are not throwing your data away. They are not
I
respecting.
got some stuff I deleted, I want it back. Maybe I could use Facebook.
Now, there's something that the kids are using, what they call the super log off
Yeah.
in Facebook. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't heard of that.
They go through and deactivate their account. Nobody can post on your wall
Right.
when it's in that mode. And when they log back in, it says, hey, do you want to reactivate your account? So that's how they control their profile and their privacy, by preventing other people from changing their wall, is they do super log off.
Okay.
Or just deactivate and
Basically goes through the API.
you have to still log in within the 2-week period, but
Yeah.
I mean it's great because you totally control all of your stuff.
Now, the thing that scares me about Facebook, and most people don't realize this is still a problem, is you don't control who has access to your information. For some of these companies, they can get access to your profile and your information by being one link away from you. So in other words, if one of your friends is, say, playing with Gangster Wars or Farmville or whatever, if they're trying to basically scrape for information, they can go through that person and get to your profile. That's why I don't trust Facebook.
So if you want to write down my recommended plugins, go right ahead.
Mr. Almost paranoid as me.
One of the computer magazines had an article, I think it was last year, about, they call it social network sites, and compared, versus Facebook, and one of them was a social network site that did it in EDU, basically for university-centric people, but it is also open to the public unannounced. So, there's other places to go besides.
I know the one you're thinking of, yeah. There's the one that most people don't know about, that's an open source project. I want to say it's coming out of Brazil, I think. I need to find again. It really was actually kind of neat.
My eyes aren't that bad. So. Okay, the floor's open. Anybody want to just?
Do you trust that Firefox thing that does it encrypt everything?
It's actually 2 passwords. I only do bookmarks. I don't do
Yeah.
passwords. I've never, even when I had Google Browser Sync and Xmarks, I never used that. And if you want, you can actually get the Weave server and set it up yourself and have your own.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't it just a bunch of PHP and MySQL? Pretty much?
Yeah.
Probably.
That's what I thought.
So, who remembers my Pogo plug?
Me.
Thank you again, by the way.
Sure.
I still haven't figured out how to get stupid Audacity and my records to play happy.
That's odd.
Nido's better. Nido's fun.
So you gonna turn into a Freedom Box?
I started to. I had some problems with the bootloader. But I like that idea of the Tonedo plug. Did you see Eben Moglen's
Yeah.
speech? I've only watched the first 20 minutes of it.
I haven't seen all the speech. I saw this earlier one. Which speech?
at FOSDEM last month, he did a speech on, he talking about the revolutions going on that happened in Egypt.
Okay.
And he said that there should be a device, and he was holding up like a tuning plug, where it's all mesh connected to other plugs in your neighborhood. So like if your connection gets cut, it will try to go through all these other ways to get out. So it's a resilient thing. And people should be able to control their own information that way. So make it like your own personal server. And that's what kind of the Pogo plug is.
But then you can also sort of share data, have other people back up part of your data, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds interesting.
Okay, so these are 2 drives on my Pogo plug at home that I mounted remotely through the Pogo plug FS function. So I can get access to all my files on that box at home remotely. It's kind of neat. I mean, there's a phone app. I just started playing with the mount app for the file system, and it's pretty nice. A little slow, but it still works. How many movies do we have? Oh my goodness. Mystery Science Theater 3000.
I didn't know all the seasons were available already on DVD.
Well, they may not be off DVD. It might be off. It might be recorded off TV.
You got it, yes.
Yes. Okay. The thing is, the program when you break out of it, it no longer is connected. So you got to run it in a shell in the background.
Speaking of recorded from TV,
Yes. Is this a Mythbox question?
Radeon chipsets with MEF.
Yeah.
Does that work? I've never done anything but
I don't know.
NVIDIA card.
I've only stuck with NVIDIA as well.
I was reading about that AMD E350
Mm-hmm.
motherboard the other day, and I thought it looks kind of interesting.
Okay, so this little guy up here, the notifier, the Android desktop notifier.
So basically it syncs to your phone.
Right. Let me, I gotta configure it. There's an app on the phone that you have to run.
Yeah. I've heard about this.
And let's see. Notification methods, IP, target IP address.
Dave says move the camera.
Dave. Which Dave?
Backer.
Which, what, to look at me rather than the screen?
I don't know. He said move the camera. He posted it to the list.
Alright. Alright, anyway. Oops. It just force closed. Darn it.
Fail.
Now I can choose a broadcast. So we'll just do a global broadcast instead. So, start. Let's see if this works. Send test. Nothing. Essentially, it will show you who's calling you, text messages, your battery charge, and all pop up in little boxes at the top of the screen. So like if the phone rings in your pocket, it'll tell you who's calling you.
What application does that?
It's the Android remote notifier. So there's an app. So actually, let's go to the website.
See, I guess the reason I didn't get this is because 90% of the time if I'm sitting at my computer,
You have your phone.
I have my phone sitting next to me, it's probably plugged into it.
Yeah. For me, if it's in my pocket, then, well, here's your chance to scan it from remote. Tell you, we've been messing with a lot of QR codes this past week.
It's fun.
It is fun.
What was it that I saw?
I have found a reader that is so fast. It's like, boop. It's just awesome.
Which one?
Z-Bar,
Zebra. Okay.
as in zebra.
Yeah.
I think I remember hearing that Symbian devices have that on there. It was either that or Amber. I don't know what it was.
I like it when the devs of these programs actually write it to use numbers when you know it's going to be a number field. Sometimes it's very annoying.
The ones I like even better are the ones that know you're supposed to have X number of digits in the field, automatically go to the next field. Although
Well-
sometimes that confuses because you don't necessarily know that going into it.
I know. Have you heard of Perl OS?
Oh, 70% remaining on my battery.
Yeah, some kid's project of writing.
Ping!
OS.
Ping! So you get the idea. So, you want to call me, Craig? Oh, you want that out of the way?
Yeah, I just wanna grab it real quick.
Move your mouse out of the way because they're gonna.
Good point.
Well, is that gonna work? Cause look how blurry it is up there.
There's a little bit of ghosting.
Yeah.
It worked. Even at the angle I'm at.
Actually, I could call myself.
Oh,
Yes,
yes,
sir.
oh, you got your. That's right. You got the.
I got my work phone.
Back early, they started little things. People that were about
Which one is it, John? 964 or 676?
676.
Phone is ringing.
I think it's kind of fun. I got it on my desktop at home. And, well, I don't really have much of anything else. Anybody have any problems with the phone area code change this past weekend?
some hope nobody can reach us.
How many people know what that meant, what I just said?
402.
All right. Everybody got their notifications from the phone company. Craig Wolf. Hey, it even says your name.
Uh-oh, I'm now known.
Well, that's interesting. I wonder if it's forwarding it out of my address book. I've never done that before. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we'll look it up.
Yeah.
Oh no, my number's on the web. Shall
Do you want to text me?
We'll see how it works.
I don't remember what the text looks like. It's been a while. I don't get a lot of texts.
Did Adam's Linux
I'll
class
sign you up.
fill up? You remember? Adam Hater? It's the Linux class he had here. He was,
Yeah.
did it fill up?
We had like 4 or 5 people.
No?
They're all his coworkers.
What?
The Miller guys for the next class.
No, it was in the last class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was 4 of my coworkers. And now they've decided we're going to AD.
Hmm?
And now they've decided we're going to AD.
Oh.
Literally, a week after they got out of the class. We're gonna move to AD.
That's too bad.
Well,
Incoming.
You'll be
AD isn't
spending a
Active
lot of time
Directory?
tracking down.
There we go. Hi.
Tracking down what?
Hey, it appeared there before it showed up on here. That's kind of funny.
What were you saying there, bud?
I have a few 2008 R2 servers.
Yeah.
Thinking that, oh, this is Windows 7, nobody's having complaints about Windows 7 based stuff. I have so many errors, warnings, LDAP can't connect to 127.0.0.1 on port 389.
Well, that's
And-
that way it's more secure.
Yeah. So many errors like that, where it can't connect to itself and to the other thing, and the firewall, I turn the firewall all off.
Yeah.
There's a lot more errors than I would have thought.
You turned off both firewalls, right?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
all different kinds of firewalls, for all different networks.
Every kind of firewall has been turned off. I don't know if this is going to work, but I'll try it. Since we're kind of coasting. Anybody heard what IVI is? Yes.
Use VI.
In-vehicle infotainment.
Oh my god. Please no.
Sure it's not the International Vaccine Institute?
Ha!
Quick thinking.
You didn't have to search for that, did you?
No, I did Google it.
He's fast in his Google foo this one. How many people play with Migo?
Oh, I know there's a group on the Linux Foundation about it, regarding it.
Poor Migo. Nokia left the party. Because they shacked up with Microsoft, and they're getting a lot of Microsoft execs somehow. Nokia USA is now an ex-Microsoft person too.
Maybe you did that.
Sad.
So just for the sake of grins here.
There's no timeout on that. Almost every Linux distro comes with a timeout. That one doesn't.
Do you have a cover on that? It looks shiny.
Yeah, it's got a thing. That's my ringtone.
Oh yeah.
Thought you'd appreciate that. I
awesome.
should put that on there as a ringtone.
I don't think that's gonna work. Yeah, it's acting up. What's that, a Mac? Hey, all right. Whoops, it went over there.
It's back.
Okay, it did work. So, this was their in-car interface that they designed for Migo, right? So you got big buttons, assuming that you're touching it, or you have a little turnstile, rotary that you push down on like the BMWs. But you go home. Let me see if I can. This might be a little loud. So they could get rid of the voicing because I want to click it. I want to go into it. I don't want to have to click it again to get into it. So it's not bad. It's kind of cool. I don't have my GPS plugged in, so it's not going to work. But so you're going to back up. What's one of the things you should not do in a car?
Hey, let's watch movies.
Watch videos.
Big Buck Bunny. Oh, no,
Must be Creative Commons.
Furballs.
It's the itty bitty tiny kitty committee.
As I run into a truck.
Oh, they're so. So I have not downloaded this since it initially came out. But, all right. Obviously not designed necessarily for a mouse. But you can actually add apps into it and the whole 9 yards. Bulk rename. I want to hear her say it.
It's using Thuna.
Yep. So, what I didn't realize when Migo and Intel kind of had their little split recently, or up in the air,
Isn't Intel still buying Migo?
they're still going to use it, I'm pretty sure. But I didn't realize they switched everything to QT last year, and that's why it was taking so long because it was GTK originally. And they said, well, if Nokia is going to be in on it, they own Trolltech, we'll switch everything to QT. And now the whole Trolltech thing is up in the air. Wonder what the KDE guys are thinking. I mean, QT's open source now, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
not restricted. Okay.
Well, here's the one that was interesting. I was just reading an interview this afternoon. This guy has spent like the last 2 years porting QT to Android.
Huh.
He's got it working.
Boy, I bet you he feels slighted.
He's still thinking that stuff's gonna happen with it. They're gonna do stuff with it and all that. Like, which delusion? Which drugs were you taking?
Here's something from the CPAN scripts under the mail category. They actually have a pump server on there of all things.
In CPAN?
Yeah, well, there's a module on there, but a script someone wrote that for some strange reason, wrote a pub server.
Okay, any questions?
What about Infotex? How's that gonna be?
Hey, Infotech's coming up. Oh, and guess what? There's postcards right there. Please take some postcards about Infotech coming up.
I will be there.
On the 19th and 20th. Of course you'll be there. You're required. But it's coming up. Got a lot of tracks. If you want to read up on who's going to be there, it's all on the website. Schedule and stuff like that.
First one always is.
Absolutely.
I will be extremely busy those several days. I will probably appear as a blur for most of it. Because every day I got to go around and put laptops everywhere and set up TVs and then take them down at night and then put them back up again. But it's a great time. It's a fun time. And there is an after party at the old mattress factory. So we got to come to that. So essentially be living at the Quest Center for almost 2 days. Get home at like midnight on Tuesday, come back in at 6. But aren't you doing something for Infotech, Aaron? No? Wow. You feel relieved of that?
Got a bunch of other shit behind out.
Oh. I meant to make the last CSF, but I didn't make it.
I don't know what I'm
The Cybersecurity Forum.
Good stuff.
Yes. It's part of the Nebraska CERT.
trying to get a very special speaker for next month, but I'll be able to do it or not. Trying to get Uber to come out of hiding to talk about Project Vigilant, if you will.
I'll be at Johnny's again.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is is it
16.
is it always the third Wednesday?
Yeah. Except
Okay.
for April when we do the Infotech security breakfast.
Okay. All right. Ron gonna? Is it Ron or
What?
who's
yeah,
the?
Ron does the security breakfast.
That's right.
I don't know if he's doing it this year or not. I haven't heard
Okay.
anything about it.
Well, I got nothing.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.